Generational wealth. By show of hands, how many of you have heard that term at some point in your adult life? I know I have. Hi, I'm Michelle Adams with the Law Office of Michelle Adams. And in the work that I do, that term is heard more often than not. And so often when we think about generational wealth, or when some people think about generational wealth, they might refer to people who may have a lot of physical, tangible wealth. Pick your favorite billionaire or millionaire, and that's what you consider. However, I think now we have kind of democratized that word, and more people are talking about what they can do to ensure that the wealth that they're building stays in the family. In fact, I was watching a show, a design show on HGTV, and the individual had inherited the house from his father, and he wanted to make sure that the house was going to be a tool that the family could use to build generational wealth and to pass it on down to the next generation. So, just a few things about this, because generational wealth is just not going to happen because we said those magic words. We have to be thoughtful about what we're doing to actually put this thing into practice. So, the first thing I would suggest is make sure that you share what your values are. Why is this even important to you? Why do you care about generational wealth? Share that with your loved ones so that when the time comes for them to inherit the property, they recognize why this was of importance to you. And perhaps you could do it through something like a family constitution, or you could do it through a letter that you write to your loved ones, just expressing what your values, your goals are, and what your intent was in creating this wealth for the family. The second thing I would encourage you to do is mentor that next generation, or whomever it is that you're wanting to leave this asset to. Oftentimes we don't know what we don't know. And so they may not know, oh, here are the things that you need to do with this property, or here are the things that you need to do with this account. You need to mentor that to that next generation so that they can visually see, this is what mom was trying to do, or this was what my grandfather was trying to do. They have seen it working in your own life. And just a side note to that, it's never too late. Sometimes we think, oh, if I had only learned this stuff when I was in my 20s, things would be so much different. Regardless of how old you are now, 50, 60, 70, whatever that age is, you can still do something to be intentional about the generational wealth that you're leaving to the next generation. And the third thing I would say is make sure, of course, that you're capturing all of this in a legal document. All of this means nothing if you just have the thought or you write it down, but it's not in a legal document. You need to make sure that there is a structure in place for that property or whatever that investment tool is, that there is a structure in place to hold that asset so that it can indeed be passed down to future generations. So many times people talk about it, but they don't create the legal structures to make that thing happen. So when we talk about generational wealth, I also want to encourage you to think about generational wisdom. What are you going to do to make sure that the wealth is being wisely passed down to that next generation? And how are you sharing it with them, both physically, but even more so, what words are you sharing with them to let them know about its importance? Again, I am Michelle Adams with the Law Office of Michelle Adams. If you need some help with doing something along those lines, please reach out to me. My contact information is below. Until the next time, take care.